Hey you all, and in today's video we will be going under the bonnet and checking the windscreen washer bottle, the oil, the coolant, the power steering fluid, and I will be going through each one of them and explaining on what they do and when you need to change them. Hopefully the weather should be kind to us today. It's quite cloudy but it is very humid. Engines are like people. If you don't keep yourself fit and healthy, then you're gonna get sick. And it's the same principle with an engine. If you don't change the oil, then it's gonna create more friction, and eventually the engine's just gonna break down till smithereens and bits of metal because the engine hasn't had time to get the oil changed in time because you haven't changed it. So it's always good to change the oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. I recommend. That's the basis I'm going off. So yeah, remember to check your oil and get it changed every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Also, in every car an engine is slightly different. So if you got, say, a 1.8 diesel, then it maybe need a lighter oil because it takes more amperage from the battery and for the starter to start up, and it needs to flow easier to get all to the moving parts, but I could be wrong. So if your car says use 0W20, you use 0W20. If your car says use 5W40, you use 5W40. Always go for the high quality oils, that way you can get further mileage out of them per oil change. But I'm saying this because it's not better for you in the long run, but it's also better for the car that way, so you're not getting the cheapest of the cheap and it ruins your engine. You don't want that. Just want a high quality oil that you can change every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. In this case, the Renault Clio takes 5W40. Also, the weather's decided to change its mind and it's swelteringly hot. Well, I say sweltering, it's like 23, 25 degrees, but still hot for the UK. Plus it also means we can open the bonnet. Right, so this is the engine, I'm sure you're familiar with it. This is the alternator belt, and you should really change it once it's cracked, and mine is. I haven't gone around to change that yet, but we'll save that for another video. This is your, well, power steering fluid, I think. But no, brake fluid, sorry. Or power steering. I haven't gone back to college in a while, so I'm a bit hazy on that one. But either way, it's fluid. This is your coolant. You want to open this when it's cold, not when it's hot. That way it will blow steam into your face, and that's not very good. This is your air filter. You want to check that every so often to get better fuel mileage. And if it's really dirty, that's when I recommend you change it. This is where you put your oil. In this case, it takes 5W40 if you've got a 1.2 Renault Clio. This is your dipstick to check your oil. See, it's fairly clean, but it's getting dirty, as everything does with age. And yeah, this is your battery, the positive and negative terminal. And I don't know why, but there's a razor blade down there somewhere. I don't know if you can see it. That's been there since I got the car. Yeah, it's a 16 valve engine. I don't know why Renault did this, but they put a plastic fuel rail on the car, and the engine gets quite hot, and when plastic gets old it gets brittle and it cracks, and fuel can leak everywhere, and that's really bad. That's a bad design fault. So if yours cracks, I'd get it changed immediately, because you don't want any fires raging out. That's the last thing you want. It's a good size engine this, there's lots of wiggle room to get your hands in everywhere and fiddle with things and fix things, yeah. When you do come to change the antifreeze and the oil and the brake fluid, if you're doing it all at once, make sure to put each one in the correct containers. Like put the antifreeze in the antifreeze one and the coolant. Put the power steering in the power steering, the brake fluid in the brake fluid, and so on, because there's many folk who can do that and it completely knackers the engine. You don't want that. So please make sure you put them in the right containers. Or if you're just topping them up, please make sure you put them in the right containers. Cheaper isn't always better, because if you get the high quality stuff like high quality brake pads, high quality discs and so on, it makes the car last longer, but you also get better usage out of it, so you stop quicker if you got high quality brakes and discs. You get high quality antifreeze, you can go 7 years or 150,000 miles depending on what manufacturer you're using, but yeah, that's what I've heard if you use high quality. But yeah, if you are gonna buy antifreeze for your car and you need it changed, get the extended life antifreeze. I would recommend that, because that way you don't have to worry about it for 7 years or 150,000 miles, depending on which comes first and if the car makes it to that. But hopefully it will if you look after it. But yeah, it's not a lot much to the engine apart from the alternator belt needs changed on mine. I recommend changing the brake fluid every 5 years because it's hygroscopic and it absorbs water from the atmosphere, and if you get water in your brake fluid then your brakes won't work very well and they become spongy. So I recommend changing that every 5 years, 3 to 5 years. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the engine. And please, if you have a car question you'd like to ask me and you'd like me to answer, please feel free to put it down in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer it and give you some feedback. I also gave the car a lovely hoover out, as you can see. It's a bit dark, but yeah. Gave the car a lovely hoover out. I love these bits of the carpet by the handbrake and so on. Yeah, nice and clean. Forgot to point out, before I changed my oil, I actually got really bad fuel mileage, and it was just terrible. I get like 120 miles to half tank. It's not really good, but now I get about 170 to 200 miles a tank. Well, half tank, 200 miles to half tank, 170, round about there. It's really good. I recommend you do change your oil every 3 to 5,000 miles if you want really good fuel mileage, because fuel, as we know it, is getting dearer. Lovely orange Focus Mark II adorned with sports stickers. Beautiful. If your car is a GDI, a gasoline direct injection, then usually the top of the valves can get crudded up with carbon, and sometimes it's best to not clean them because it's best seals everything, and if you like clean them with engine flush or something like that, then it can ruin it, as a top tip if you've got a GDI engine. But if you've got a normal engine where the fuel sprays on top of the valves and then into the cylinder, then giving it a good thrash down the motorway or dual carriageway or whatever usually is the best way to clean it, because that way all the oil's circulating, and the gas and the petrol helps clean the top of the valves as well, and as well as, you know, get is everything. Sorry, I'm tying myself up in words here. Yeah, so top tip is, if you've got a petrol car or a diesel car, you'll sometimes need to give it a thrashing down the motorway just to give everything a clean out and get all the oils circulating as they should, and get the engine running nice and smooth, because you'll see the difference from when it's like cold and then really warm, or if you're just doing like day-to-day town traffic, you'll see the difference if you give it a thrash down the motorway. I'm also going to need to go back to the scrapyard again, because I'd like to get a used one of these, as the passenger button is sort of popped out a little bit, if you see, and you put it back and then you sort of see it's not ideal, but I would like a better one. Now this is what I'm talking about, summer. This is how it should be instead of rain all the time. Nice. Anyways, that's going to do it for today. If you're new here, please feel free to subscribe down below. Helps keep you in the circle of new videos and adventures in my life, as well as uploads and future car mods on the car as well, and so on. And thank you for the view, and I shall see you in the next one. I don't want to brag, but the Mark 1 interior is much more blander than the Mark 2. But the Mark 1 has slightly better seats, I think. Alcantara, what do you think?